Hello everyone, my name is Miniseti. I hope you all are staying healthy. Today we are going to talk about free trade and protection. Free trade and protection both are basically trade policies. Free trade means when goods and services can be bought and sold between countries without any tariff, without any quota, or without any trade restriction. Just opposite to this, protection occurs when countries impose restriction on import. Some economists are in favor of free trade. On the other hand, some economists are in favor of protection. Today we will see some argument in favor of free trade and protection and some argument against free trade and protection. So firstly we will see argument in favor of free trade. As we earlier discussed, free trade means when goods and services can be bought and sold between countries without any trade restriction. First argument in favor of free trade is advantage of specialization. In case of free trade, country can take advantage of specialization. As we know, specialization means country will not produce all goods. Country will only produce those goods in which it has expertise. Or we can say that in case of specialization, country will produce only good which it can produce cheaply and efficiently as compared to other country. And remaining goods it will import from other country, because now trade is free. We don't have any restriction on import. So by this way, country can take advantage of specialization in case of free trade. Next argument in favor of free trade is gain from economies of scale. As we earlier discussed, in case of free trade, country will not produce all goods. It will only produce those goods which it can produce cheaply and efficiently as compared to other country. So we can say that in case of free trade, country is increasing the production of particular goods, and economies of scales are advantage that we get when we increase our production. So we can say that in case of free trade, country can gain from economies of scales. Next argument in favor of free trade is all-round prosperity. As we earlier discussed, in case of free trade, country will not produce all goods. Country will only produce those goods which it can produce cheaply and efficiently as compared to other country. Or we can say that in case of free trade, country will produce according to their specialization. If all countries are producing according to their specialization, means global output will increase. If output increase, price will fall. If price fall, consumption will increase. If consumption increase, means standard of living is improved. So we can say that free trade leads to high production, high consumption and all round prosperity. Next argument in favor of free trade is in case of free trade, we can get goods, raw material, machines which are not available in our country. Now we will see some arguments against free trade. First argument against free trade is destruction of home industry. In case of free trade, imported goods are available at cheaper price. In case of free trade, imported goods are available at cheaper price. That's why people of our country are buying more and more imported goods. They are not buying our own country product. As a result, our home industry will suffer. Second argument against free trade is inefficient industry remain inefficient. If you want inefficient industry in your country should try to become efficient, then you have to stop international trade. Means you have to put some restriction of international trade. As a result, people of your country will buy their own country product. As a result, these industry try to grow. These industry increase their production and become efficient. Next argument against free trade is dangers of over dependence. If you are completely dependent on other country raw material, other country product, other country machinery, if these country face any economical crisis like depression, then your country will also affected from this. We will see argument in favor of protection. In case of protection, we don't have free trade. We have so many restriction on our import. And first argument in favor of protection is diversification argument. In case of free trade, we cannot produce all goods. We only produce those goods which we can produce cheaply and efficiently as compared to other country. But in case of protection, we have restriction on import. We cannot import. That's why we have to produce all goods. So we can say that protection bring diversification, means we can produce multiple product, we can bring multiple industry in our country. And second argument in favor of protection is employment argument. In case of protection, we produce all goods. If we are increasing production, employment also increasing in our country. And third argument in favor of protection is balance of payment argument. As we know, deficit balance of payment when our import exceed from our export. So So with the protection we can reduce our import, because in protection we put so many restriction on our import. So we can say that protection can correct our balance of payment. Now we will see arguments against protection. First argument against protection is don't get advantage of specialization. In case of protection we cannot get advantage of specialization. As we earlier discussed, in case of free trade we don't produce all goods, we will only produce those goods which we can produce cheaply. But in case of protection we have to produce all goods because we cannot import. That's why we can say that in case of protection we cannot take advantage of specialization. Second argument against protection is cost of society, because consumer is paying higher price. Imported goods are available at cheaper price, but in protection we impose restriction on import and force people to buy our home industries product, which price is very higher. If consumer is paying higher price, means the cost of society is increasing. That's why some people are against it. Third argument against protection is weak industry have no potential to develop. We put so much restriction on import so that people of our country will buy our home industry product, so that our home industry can grow. But some industry don't have potential to grow. Either you impose import restriction or not. And this is all about free trade and protection. I think you got it, and thank you so much for watching this video. Bye, take care.